Good morning, boys and girls. Today I'm going to teach you how do you estimate liquid volume, which is also called capacity. So as you see behind me, we have our anchor chart. This will be used for the next 2 weeks because it's talking about measurement of weight and volume. So on this side, so it says liquid volume or capacity. You have liquid volume is the amount of liquid that's in a container. So we can measure these using liters. So as I showed you a picture here, as a water bottle or milliliters. So you also have this in your folder that you can refer back to at any time, and you can kind of see it a little bit closer up. So we went through, this was with my last year's class, that we kind of listed our things that we could measure with liters and what we would measure with milliliters. So with liters, you have a bigger capacity there, and with milliliters, you have a smaller capacity because it is a smaller beaker here. So with liters, they said some things that you could measure would be like milk or juice or Gatorade, coffee, lemonade, tea, using that using that water bottle or as your liters, that those are similar in your capacity or in liquid volume. And then we have our milliliters. So these are going to be your smaller liquid volumes, what you would measure with that. So for example, we had some raindrops, a teaspoon if you're measuring something, if you're making cookies, a cap of water, so the water cap, it'd be smaller. You'd want to measure it with the milliliters. Some medicine, if you're measuring medicine, if you're sick, you're going to measure with milliliters instead of liters because liters is a lot bigger. So we'll talk a little bit more about what we'd measure with liters and milliliters. Today we have a little project, I guess you can say. You'll meet me over in my kitchen. So we will go through what we can measure and how we compare items in measuring with our liters. All right, boys and girls, we are on a field trip to my kitchen. We're going to do some measuring with our liters or our liquid volume here. So what I have is we have a kind of like a water bottle, similar to one. This is a liter, so you're going to kind of estimate this is about a liter of water. So we are going to compare if it'd be more than a liter or less than a liter to fill up some of these objects. So what I have for us is our soup bowl. So here's a soup bowl. I also have a cup. I have a coffee mug. I have this is what you put kind of juice in. It's kind of a different shape. And then last but not least, I have our pitcher. Okay, so our pitcher, juice pour. So let's start off with our soup bowl. So if you have your soup bowl here, and I have my liter, of course we are comparing these two. Do you think that my liter, if I pour it into the soup bowl, that it will be too much or it will be too little? So take a few minutes to think. Will it be too much or too little? So what we're going to do is we're going to pour this in. So if you said too much or too little, keep that in mind as we do so. So we have 1 liter, trying to put it into this soup bowl, seeing if it will fill it up or if it will overfill. So as you see, it is right at the top there. So this soup bowl is about 1 liter. It is about 1 liter. They're about the same size here with their liquid volume. Okay. So of course it's going to determine on your type of soup bowl, how big or how small it is as well. Okay. In this case, it is about 1 liter. They're about the same size. You saw how it filled it up right there to the top. All right, let's try our next one. So our next one we're going to compare is our liter, full again, to our coffee mug. Now, what do you think? Do you think a liter is going to be about the same amount, or is it going to be, do you need less than a liter or more than a liter to fill our coffee cup? So think for a few seconds. And then let's find out. All right, so I'm going to pour our liter into our coffee mug. And as you see, it's starting to overflow. So I still have this amount left in our liter for our coffee mug. So our coffee mug is less than 1 liter. Our coffee mug is less than 1 liter because I still have extra water left over. Let's try a few more. All right, so what about our cups? So we have a glass cup here. This is measured to 1 cup. And then, of course, I filled up our liters, our 1 liter again. So let's try this again. And I want you to think before I do this. Do you think that it would take 1 liter to fill up this cup, or less than 1 liter to fill up this cup, or more than 1 liter to fill up this cup? All right, so once you have your decision, let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I am filling this up with water. And now it is overflowing. So my cup here is less than 1 liter because I have more water or liquid volume in my liter. So this cup would take less than 1 liter to fill up. Let's try another one. All right, so now we have a pitcher. So this is very similar to your pitcher, the one that we're going to do next here as well. They are just in different shapes. So they'll take different shapes of that liquid volume that is in there. So I have my pitcher, my glass pitcher we'll call this, and then I have my liter here. So now think about this. Do you think it would take less than 1 liter to fill this up, more than 1 liter to fill this up, or about the same as Do you think this, if I pour this liter into this pitcher, it will fill it up all the way to the top? So think about that. And then let's try. All right, as you see, I probably need about 1.5 more liters in order to fill this up. 1 liter did not fill up this glass container, this glass pitcher, as we said. So we would need more than 1 liter to fill up our glass pitcher because there needs to be more to fill up all the way to the top. Okay. So our next one, we have we'll call this the blue pitcher. So we have our blue pitcher. So this blue pitcher is something that you would make lemonade or tea or Gatorade in and use it kind of throughout the week. This wouldn't be something that I would sit down and pour and drink in one sitting. So here we have is our blue pitcher. And remember, we want to compare if 1 liter, would it take less than 1 liter, more than 1 liter, or about 1 liter to fill up this pitcher? Okay, so let's try it, and I'll show you inside because I don't think you'll be able to see on the outside. All right, as you can see, or maybe you can't, it's only filled up to about here. So you're going to need a few more liters to fill this up to the top. So this blue pitcher would need more than 1 liter to fill to the top. All right, so what you're going to do today in your independent work is you are going to go through and solve some of these problems. They'll give you estimates if it would be a 1/2 liter, 1/4 liter, or 1 liter in measuring certain items. If you need to sit a cup next to you or even a water bottle next to you, that is recommended of your liters. And then try to do your comparison, you can do that so you can visually have that representation. Remember when you are finished to input your those select questions into the quiz area. And then if you have any questions, you can get a hold of myself or your teachers as well.